You are listening to Lovely Talks Heavy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lovely Talks Heavy. I am your host, Lovely, and I discuss everything I enjoy with regard to heavy music. Today, I wanted to share some helpful tips for people that are new to the whole going to live shows thing. Perhaps you like hard rock and heavy metal, but don't often get the chance to go see a live show. And this may seem like a cheap rehash of my concert etiquette episode, which it probably is. However, this time, I wanted to give a bit of advice extending beyond how to just act at a concert. Definitely do give the concert etiquette, Q&A, and also phones episodes to listen to get more advice in the field of attending concerts and discussion, I suppose. But for this one, I wanted to hone in on things I wish that I had known about attending shows before I started attending shows. For those super seasoned concert goers that probably definitely already know about these things that I'm going to mention, hopefully you can at least enjoy hearing about my specific experience in attending shows. So, let's dive right in. I've never attended a show by myself, and I recommend against going by yourself to a show. Any show. I don't care if it's John Mellencamp or if it's Meshuggah. It's just don't go by yourself. It's just not the fact that you might be missing out on having a fun shared memory with somebody, shared experience with somebody, but within every crowd at a show, there are some creeps and freaks. When I saw Slipknot at Mayhem Festival, may that rest in peace, I went with my stepdad and some other people. It was a good-sized group that I went with, which is good, because I was 19 at the time. I felt like I was grown, but no, I wasn't. I wore this pink wig and platform boots, bad idea on uneven terrain, by the way, and a bitch felt like Nicki Minaj. So I was quite noticeable. I bring this up mainly because this is a formula for attracting freaks, and yeah, there was one, which, side note, it's no negative bearing on you if you decide to dress in something that attracts attention, but just keep in mind the sort of attention you will get and just be prepared for that. There was a dude walking around the lawn drunk and in an All Hope Is Gone era Corey Taylor mask. I thought this was neat, you know. I would have liked to have an All Hope Is Gone era Corey Taylor mask. Up until the guy noticed me, walked up to me, and without prompting, hugged me against his gross, sweaty body, and then whispered into my ear something that nobody should be whispering into the ears of strangers, and especially not into the ears of 19-year-olds at that. It makes me want to vom. Thinking about how much further that dude could have pushed if, he had known that young impressionable me went by myself, and also if he was more sober. Who knows? It's also good to have somebody to stick with if somebody decides to get violent at a show. I'm not talking about when some people get overzealous when a wall of death breaks out. Think more on when somebody brings a weapon to a show and hurts people with it, or just brings a weapon to a show, period. It's not always going to be a worst case scenario sometimes, though. You just need somebody to help you walk through the parking lot because one of you is way too drunk. Use the buddy system. Have yourself a good hearty meal before the show. In the case of a festival setting, eat something that you know will be able to last you well within the day. You're gonna be walking around all day probably, and you're gonna need that energy, and also the money, because within the confines of a festival especially, they will overcharge for food and drinks, and they definitely won't let you bring your own in. If you're like me and get very excited before a show, especially that one of your favorite bands, it might be difficult to bring yourself to eat because of all the butterflies that are occupying your stomach. That's fine, but try to eat something. Doctors recommend eating food. It's good for the body. I've touched on this before, but I think this one does bear emphasis. Be prepared for some level of rowdiness in the crowd, especially if you're in close proximity to the stage. If you're not able to handle people pushing around getting excited as the band performs, you might want to opt for a more seated part of the venue. It's okay if you can't handle that sort of rowdiness, but still want to see your favorite band. It's perfectly cool. It just starts getting shitty when you start telling people how to act when they're doing nothing wrong and trying to have harmless fun. Case in point, I was with friends at a Katy Perry show some years ago, don't at me, And in front of us, there was this older couple with their grandchildren or something who couldn't have been older than, like, 9 years old. You're bringing them into what is essentially a mosh pit where they could easily get stepped on. Okay. Things didn't even begin to get rowdy in the crowd. Katy Perry wasn't even on the damn stage before they started throwing shit fits about people cutting in front of them. Improper decorum in a fucking, again, what is essentially a mosh pit. A girl further in front of them was on the phone, just telling her friend where she was so they could, be together in the crowd. I would like to be with my friends in a crowd too. And the old man starts shouting for security to handle this girl and tell her to stop giving free cuts or whatever. Security did nothing because why the fuck would they, If that girl were in front of me, I would at most just be annoyed, but eventually I'd just brush it off and have fun. Because this isn't a spot in the venue with assigned seating, If you don't want people to move from their spot ever, go watch the fucking balcony. It didn't stop there, though. During Katy Perry's set, at one point, I was feeling a little bit claustrophobic, and saw there was a little bit of room to step foot in. I had taken a singular literal step, and the old lady of the aforementioned old couple was right inside of my ear hole, telling me that I was cutting in front of her, which was fucking stupid. Get off my dick, and just have a fun time, lady, for the sake of your grandchildren, who are probably getting stepped on because you and your husband are too busy policing the mosh pit at a fucking Katy Perry concert. The stupidest part was that before entering into the venue, we had to sign a waiver that was like, hey, you might get pushed. People are gonna be moving around. Ain't the venue's fault if that happens. And deal with it. Like, did you not read that, old people? I know I did. It wasn't fine print. It wasn't hard to read. It was right there in the text of the waiver. Oh well. So moral of the story is basically just, there's gonna be movement in any space of a venue without assigned seating. Don't get too hung up on staying in one spot unless you paid for a specific seat. It's another thing entirely, though, if you get pushed to the ground and the person that pushed you doesn't even have the courtesy to help you back up. No one can fault you for getting a little bit angry or annoyed or mad in that situation. Dress comfortably. Don't be like me every single time I go to a live show, like, I'll be able to survive like 5 hours on my feet in these platform heels. It's no big deal. It is a big deal, and my body hates me every single time I pull this shit. If you want to look cute, I support you. If you want to look nice, do the damn thing. I am with you there. Dress in an obnoxious, attention-getting getup you have in your closet. I support you because we are here to have fun. Just, keep in mind your body's limits and comfort. That is all I got for this episode, apparently. I don't claim to be the most seasoned, wise concert goer ever. I can only speak from my own experience and from what I've observed. I can only hope that my little bit of knowledge will be helpful to somebody else out there, even if the number of concerts I've attended pales in comparison to somebody who goes to like 5 shows in a single weekend. Regardless, I hope that you found something in this episode insightful and, more importantly, entertaining and enjoyable. Please share the show with a friend. Every single time the show hits a new set of ears, it means the absolute world to me. Do you have any particular bits of concert-going wisdom? Hit me up on social media, on Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, Instagram, and Mixcloud. I am Lovely Metalhead. Follow me while you're visiting those pages on those platforms, and I will probably retweet or repost some of those things if you decide to at me in that regard. I would love to. And until next week, next Saturday, the next episode of Lovely Talks Heavy, you stay brutal, my friends. Bye.